NATO summit in Madrid is well underway. Our political editor, Darren McCaffrey, has sent this report from the summit.
Well, the NATO summit's well underway here in Madrid. Probably the most important NATO summit that we've seen in decades, given the raging war in Ukraine, the escalation, frankly, that we've seen in that conflict this week with that missile attack on a shopping mall in Ukraine. And it is notable that lots of the rhetoric that we've seen from NATO leaders has hardened in recent days. Even Emmanuel Macron, the French president, someone who's been accused of being relatively soft on all of this, is insistent that Ukraine needs to win this war, that it must win this war. But the question for Ukrainians, and I'm speaking to one Ukrainian MP who's actually in Madrid today, his point that it's all very well and good hearing strong words. What's needed is actions. Clearly the Ukrainians are still pretty desperate for more weapons. They welcome the news that Finland and Sweden have now had their path cleared after Turkey lifted their objections to joining NATO. But they're also asking, well, why can't Ukraine join NATO? And there are questions about whether further sanctions could potentially help limit the ability of Russia to make munitions back home. But in the end, it's all really quite difficult stuff. I think the most notable thing we'll probably get from this summit is a commitment to increase NATO's presence, particularly in Eastern Europe. We know that the Rapid Defence Force is essentially going to increase maybe tenfold from around 30,000 to 300,000 troops. That is a notable increase. And that means, frankly, a lot of British troops involved in all of this as well that could be put on or placed in Eastern European countries as effectively kind of the front line of NATO, if you like. But many within Whitehall, many within the Ministry of Defence say, well, that means more money for Britain's armed forces. And we've seen a bit of a battle, actually, in recent days between the Ministry of Defence, Number 10 and the Treasury about defence spending. There have been suggestions that Number 10 may have been in favour of increasing defence spending quite substantially in the years to come. It's something the Defence Secretary Ben Wallace has made clear he really wants to see. The Treasury seemed pretty reserved about all of this, suggesting where is the money going to come from in a cost of living crisis. And frankly, I do think we're going to see this kind of argument play out about whether defence spending should increase substantially in Britain, whether the Army and the Navy and the Air Force need to increase their numbers substantially as well, given the threat from Russia, and frankly where that money is going to come from. So there is a bit of a bitter battle back home during this NATO summit, and that is a battle I think that will carry on, given the agreement, at least within the UK government and clearly among NATO leaders, that Russia really is now a very potent and imminent threat.